Imagine waking up and before your feet even touch the bedroom floor, your head already feels like a busy beehive.
Oh, wow, yeah. Just this endless buzzing.
Right. A constant chaotic noise and movement that you simply cannot turn off.
It's exhausting just thinking about it.
It really is. Or maybe, you feel like you're trapped underneath a giant pile of heavy books.
Oh, that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, like you are unable to stand up because the immense weight of everything you have to do is just pushing you down into the mattress.
I mean, that physical heaviness is something we rarely talk about when we discuss being healthy.
Exactly. Usually when we picture health, we imagine someone running on a treadmill.
Or lifting weights at the gym. Or, I don't know, eating a big bowl of green vegetables.
Right, because physical health is entirely visible.
Exactly. If you break your arm, the problem is obvious. You go to a doctor, you get a cast.
And society completely understands that you need time to heal.
But that buzzing beehive and that heavy pile of books, those are very real physical symptoms too.
They are. They are the invisible symptoms of what is happening inside your mind.
Which is exactly what we are unpacking today.
Yes, today we are taking a deep dive into a topic that, well, a lot of people find intimidating. Or maybe just too heavy to discuss openly.
Mental health?
Exactly. Mental health. And our material today comes from a really interesting source. It's a 3-part audio series called the Mr. English Podcast.
Which is actually designed specifically to help people learn the English language.
Right, which makes their approach to this topic so fascinating.
It really does.
Yeah.
Because they strip away all the intimidating, complex medical words that usually surround this topic.
No complicated jargon at all.
None. Instead, they define mental health so simply. They just call it health for your feelings and your thoughts.
Health for your feelings and your thoughts. I love that so much.
It really makes it accessible, you know?
It does. And that reframing is actually our primary mission for this deep dive today. We want to completely demystify this concept for you.
Right, because just like you go to the gym to take care of your physical body, your mind requires active care too.
Your brain needs intentional exercise. And, maybe more importantly, it desperately needs intentional rest.
Absolutely. And our secondary mission today is to equip you, the listener, with practical vocabulary.
Yes. We want to give you the exact, simple English words to express the complicated feelings inside your head.
Because before we can fix a problem, we need the vocabulary to name what is going wrong.
We do. And the Mr. English series identifies 2 very common struggles that happen when we neglect the health of our feelings.
Let's start with the first one. It's a word that carries immense weight. Overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed.
Yeah. O-V-E-R-W-H-E-L-M-E-D. Overwhelmed.
The word itself almost sounds heavy, doesn't it?
It really does. And being overwhelmed is defined here as a severe imbalance.
What kind of imbalance?
Well, it happens when you have far too much to do and simply not enough time to do it.
Ah, I see.
Yeah, it's a fundamental conflict between your responsibilities and your available energy.
And I guess this is where those vivid metaphors of the beehive and the heavy books really come into play.
Exactly, because a beehive isn't just noisy. It's thousands of bees moving in completely different directions.
Right, which is exactly what your thoughts are doing when you are overwhelmed.
You are thinking about work, about your family, about cooking dinner, all at the exact same time.
And the giant pile of books represents the pressure.
Yes. When you are buried under that weight, you cannot move forward. You are essentially paralyzed by the sheer volume of tasks.
Think about someone trying to learn a new language, like the listeners of the original audio series.
Oh, absolutely. The sheer mental energy it takes to study grammar is huge.
It is. You are sitting down, trying to memorize verb conjugations.
Trying to understand tricky prepositions.
Right. And your brain is working incredibly hard to build entirely new neurological pathways.
And then you add studying grammar on top of a full-time job. Or taking care of a family.
And suddenly that giant pile of books isn't just a metaphor anymore.
Not at all. It is the very real burden of trying to better yourself while just balancing daily survival.
Which leads directly to the second crucial term discussed in the material, burnout.
Burnout, yes. And this is vastly different from normal daily stress.
How do they explain the difference?
Well, they use a great analogy. Imagine a beautiful, brightly burning candle.
Okay. A candle?
Right. As long as that candle has wax and a wick, it produces a strong flame.
But if that candle burns and burns for days on end without ever being blown out to rest?
Exactly. Eventually, the fire consumes everything. The flame simply dies.
And that is burnout.
That is burnout. It is the state of working so hard for so long that you have absolutely zero energy left.
So you don't just feel tired in your muscles.
No, you feel completely empty inside.
Yeah.
There's nothing left to burn.
Wow. And the audio series makes a very strong point here about validating the negative emotions that come with that emptiness.
They do, because when you reach that state of burnout, you might feel an overwhelming urge to just sit on the floor and cry.
And society often tells us that crying is a sign of weakness or a failure.
But it's not. Crying is actually a biological release valve.
The release valve, I like that.
Yeah. The material describes crying beautifully. They call it a rainstorm for your soul.
A rainstorm for your soul. That is so poetic.
Right. Think about how the air feels just before a heavy summer rainstorm.
It's thick. It's humid and heavy.
Exactly. It's hard to breathe. But after the rain finally falls, the pressure drops.
The air is suddenly clean and fresh and clear.
Yes. Tears wash away that heavy internal pressure.
Comparing tears to a rainstorm really changes the entire perspective.
Hmm.
But looking back at that candle metaphor,
Yeah.
I have to ask, is burnout essentially just our brain running completely out of fuel?
Basically, yes.
And if so, how do we know the difference between just being exhausted from a long, hard day of work and a candle that has completely lost its flame?
That distinction is vital because the treatment for the two is completely different.
Okay, explain that.
Well, being tired from a long day is physical fatigue. Your body's battery is low.
Right.
If you experience physical fatigue, you can sleep for 8 solid hours, wake up the next morning, and your energy is restored.
The fuel tank is full again, and the flame is bright.
Exactly. Burnout, however, when the candle has completely lost its flame, is a state of deep emotional and mental exhaustion.
So sleep doesn't fix it.
No. If you are burned out, you can sleep for 10 or 12 hours, but you will still wake up feeling empty.
Unmotivated.
Right. Unable to care about the things you usually love, the fuel itself is gone, and sleep alone cannot replace it.
So once you realize your candle is completely burned out, sleep isn't enough. You have to actively figure out how to spark that flame again.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you cannot just buy a new brain, right? You have to fix the one you have.
Which brings us to the concept of self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care.
The material refers to self-care techniques as secret tools for the mind.
But they are very careful to redefine what self-care actually means. Because it's not about buying expensive spa treatments or going on a luxury vacation.
No, not at all. Self-care is defined at its core as basic kindness to yourself.
Basic kindness. And one of the most immediate tools they offer is called the deep breath.
Yes, the deep breath. This is something a person can do anywhere at any time, even sitting at a desk.
Let's actually walk our listener through the mechanics of this breathing exercise, because it is highly specific.
We should. It's a great tool.
So if you are listening, you can try this with us right now, assuming you aren't driving a car, of course.
Please don't close your eyes if you're driving.
Right. Okay, so first, you breathe in deeply through your nose, counting for 4 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hold that breath in your lungs. Just pause for 2 seconds. 1, 2.
And finally, breathe out very slowly through your mouth for 6 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
That specific pattern, inhaling for 4, holding for 2, and exhaling for 6, is described as a remote control for the brain.
A remote control. Why does extending that exhale act like a remote control? What is actually happening in the body?
Well, when you are panicked, for example, when you are sitting down to take a very difficult English test and you feel that beehive buzzing,
Yeah, that panic.
your brain enters a state of high alert. It is essentially running on fast forward, sending emergency panic signals to your heart and your lungs.
Telling you to run away or fight.
Exactly. But by intentionally slowing down your breathing and specifically making the exhale longer than the inhale, you force your heart rate to slow down.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, you are sending a physical signal back to your brain that says, we are safe.
You are pressing the pause button on your body's stress response.
Right. You are taking back control of the remote.
It is a physiological override. You are using your lungs to calm your mind. That's incredible.
It really works. Now, another tool the series focuses on is the mindful walk.
The mindful walk. And the core rule of this walk is simple, but incredibly difficult. Absolutely no phones.
Right. You don't listen to a podcast, you don't listen to music, and you certainly don't call your boss.
You simply walk.
Yes. The goal is to be entirely in the moment. You actively look at the veins on the leaves.
You focus on the feeling of the wind hitting your skin.
You listen to the specific pitch of the birds singing.
And the reasoning behind this is so fascinating. The series points out that psychological stress almost always comes from a habit of mental time traveling.
Mental time traveling, that is such a good way to put it.
Right. We are rarely stressed about the exact second we are living in.
Instead, we are either agonizing over a mistake we made in the past.
Or we are stressing about something coming up in the future.
Exactly. The classic example they give is a parent constantly worrying, what am I going to cook for dinner tonight, while trying to work?
It comes down to the mechanics of human attention.
Yes. Your brain has a limited amount of processing power.
It cannot fully process the rich sensory details of the present moment. The wind, the leaves, the birds, and simultaneously calculate worries about the future.
Right. By intentionally forcing your attention onto your physical senses, you pull your brain out of the anxious future.
You anchor it in the safety of the present moment.
Exactly.
In theory, that makes perfect sense. But I have to push back here a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
It sounds wonderful to just stroll outside and look at leaves. But how does someone actually force their brain to stay in the moment when they are profoundly exhausted?
That's a fair point.
When you are burned out, your brain instinctively wants to worry about the future. It wants to figure out how to survive the next task.
And that is the deepest challenge of mindfulness. When you are exhausted, worrying actually feels productive. It feels like a survival instinct.
It really does. So what do?
Well, you don't force the brain to stop worrying, because that just creates more stress.
Right, fighting it makes it worse.
Exactly. Instead, dealing with our own mind internally is a practice of gentle redirection.
Gentle redirection.
Yeah. Every time the thought of dinner pops up, you simply acknowledge it, and then you deliberately choose to find one leaf to look at.
Just one leaf.
Yes. However, you raise a very important point. Dealing with our own mind internally, through breathing or walking, is only half the battle.
What's the other half?
Well, eventually, when that internal exhaustion takes over and we cannot quiet the beehive on our own, we have to communicate these messy feelings to others.
Ah, yes. Which brings us to the third crucial tool, talking it out.
Yes. Because trying to handle a burned-out candle entirely by yourself can be a very lonely experience.
And the Mr. English hosts share a deeply relatable story about this exact struggle.
They do. One of the hosts woke up feeling incredibly sad. She didn't want to work. She didn't want to record the show.
But she felt deeply embarrassed by her sadness. She believed she had to maintain a facade of being strong and professional.
And that pressure to always appear strong is universal, isn't it?
It really is. But instead of hiding it, she decided to call her brother.
And she didn't offer a long, complicated explanation. She simply told him, I feel sad.
And her brother responded with two of the most powerful words in the English language.
He simply said, me too.
Me too.
The Me Too moment is profound. The instant someone else validates your pain by admitting they feel it as well, the invisible weight you are carrying physically feels lighter.
You realize you are not the only person struggling under a pile of books.
Exactly. And the metaphor used for this moment is brilliant. Talking about your feelings is described as opening a window in a dark room.
Opening a window in a dark room.
Because when we keep our fears and our sadness hidden inside, they echo. They grow much larger and more terrifying in the dark.
But speaking those fears out loud to another human being lets fresh air and light into the room.
It shrinks those fears back down to a manageable size.
But to open that window, especially for listeners who are studying English, you need the right words.
Yes. Complex emotional states are hard to articulate in your native language, let alone a second one.
Which is why the series focuses on highly practical, everyday phrases.
One of the most useful phrases they teach is simply, I'm feeling a bit down today.
I'm feeling a bit down today.
Yeah. It relies on a very intuitive directional metaphor.
Right, because we associate happiness and high energy with being up.
Exactly. Therefore, sadness and low energy are down.
So saying I'm feeling down is a gentle, universally understood way to communicate that your candle is running low on fuel.
Yes, without having to explain all the complex psychology behind it.
Another essential phrase they highlight is, I need some me time.
Oh, I love this one. Me time is a fantastic cultural idiom.
It literally means time dedicated only to yourself.
Right. It is a polite, socially acceptable way to communicate that you need isolation to recharge.
Saying, I need some me time this afternoon is a much kinder, much more effective way to set a boundary than, losing your temper and yelling "go away"
Yeah,
at your family or your colleagues.
so true. And communication works both ways.
What do you mean?
Well, if you see a friend who looks like they are struggling under their own pile of heavy books, the material gives us a simple way to check in.
Right. You could just ask, is everything okay?
Is everything okay? And if they reply that they are fine, but they are struggling,
Or if they simply don't want to talk.
the most supportive phrase you can offer is, "I'm here for you."
I'm here for you.
Yes, it does not demand an explanation. It is simply a gentle reminder that you are standing outside their dark room, ready to help open the window whenever they are ready.
That's beautiful. Now, speaking of needing me time and trying to take care of yourself, we have to talk about the reality of self-care,
The reality, yes,
because it is rarely perfect.
never perfect.
The series shares a hilarious, highly specific story about trying to use these secret tools.
Oh, the meditation story.
Yes, one of the hosts decides he desperately needs some me time.
Right. He resolves to practice perfect self-care by meditating in nature.
So he goes out into his garden. He finds a quiet spot in the dirt.
He crosses his legs, straightens his posture,
He closes his eyes to achieve perfect mindfulness.
and he immediately falls fast asleep.
He accidentally sleeps sitting up in the garden for 2 hours.
2 hours. And he wakes up loudly snoring, covered in dirt.
Only to open his eyes and find a neighborhood cat staring directly at him.
And he noted that the cat was looking at him as if he were a giant piece of cheese.
A giant piece of cheese. It is a very funny image, but it highlights a profound truth about mental health, doesn't it?
It really does. He set out to meditate perfectly, and he failed completely.
But sleep is a massive, foundational part of mental health.
Exactly. His nervous system was exhausted. His body bypassed his plans for perfect meditation and simply took the rest it desperately needed.
So if self-care can successfully look like a messy, accidental nap in the dirt while a cat judges you,
Yeah.
does that mean the modern pressure to do self-care perfectly is actually just another way we create stress for ourselves?
Absolutely. That is the great trap of modern wellness culture.
We turn self-care into just another high-pressure task on our daily to-do list.
We convince ourselves we have to do yoga flawlessly, or write in our gratitude journals perfectly.
Or meditate for exactly 30 minutes without a single distracting thought.
And when we fail to do it perfectly, we feel guilty, which entirely defeats the purpose.
Right. The messy nap in the garden proves that true self-care is simply listening to your body's limits without judging yourself.
Which is why the creators of the audio series wrap up this entire discussion with a philosophical shift.
They state that we are human beings, not human doings.
Human beings, not human doings.
It's a great play on words.
It is. It is a reminder that our fundamental value as people does not come from how much work we produce,
Or how many vocabulary words we memorize.
or how constantly busy we are. Our inherent value comes simply from existing, from being.
Let's synthesize all of this, because there is so much actionable insight here for anyone trying to navigate a busy life while learning a language.
The core principles to take away are clear. First, understand that it is perfectly normal and perfectly okay to not be okay.
When the beehive gets too loud, rely on your breath as a physical remote control to pause your body's stress response.
And if the internal tools aren't enough, use your words. Talk to someone to open a window in that dark room.
Remember that small, imperfect things matter. A mindful walk where you look at a single leaf is a victory.
An accidental nap in the dirt is still rest.
And most importantly, always practice basic kindness toward yourself, especially when you are engaging in something as mentally taxing as learning the English language.
Building new language skills requires an enormous amount of cognitive fuel.
It really does.
It is incredibly easy for that candle to burn out if you do not actively protect the flame.
So why does all of this matter to you, the listener?
It matters because your mind is the engine for everything else in your life.
Taking time to care for your mental health is not a lazy distraction from your goals.
No, it is the very first, most essential requirement for achieving them.
You cannot master a new language, pass a difficult exam, or show up as a good friend if your candle has absolutely no flame.
Exactly. And having the right simple vocabulary phrases like, "I'm feeling down," or "I need some me time," allows you to share the weight of that giant pile of books.
Making the burden just a little bit lighter.
As we conclude this deep dive, I want to leave you with one final thought to consider.
Okay, what is it?
It's regarding the idea that we are human beings, not human doings.
Right.
If our entire modern society is fundamentally structured to constantly reward doing, to reward endless productivity, constant busyness, and constant achievement,
Yeah.
how much of our everyday mental health struggle is actually just a completely normal, healthy reaction to a deeply unnatural world?
Wow. That is a powerful question to carry with you.
Something to think about.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Yep.
Take care of your minds, protect your flame, and we will talk to you next time.